Vijay poses the question in his most recent blog, does innovation scale? And he says maybe it doesn't. And I'd like to suggest the following idea, the following manner of thinking about it. Maybe it's not about whether or not innovation scales. Maybe it's about whether or not the things that prevent innovation scale. Why did I think of that? When I read Vijay's blog post, I remembered a book by neurologist Oliver Sacks that I read some time ago about a person who suffered from brain damage and subsequently developed genius-like capabilities in playing music. So that person, after, I don't remember, was it a stroke or a physical brain damage, became a very talented concert-level piano player in their mid-30s or 40s. Now, how does such a thing happen? It's not completely unique. It's been heard of and documented many times that a brain injury can lead to such a peak performance in a particular area. And the reason that happens is that the ability, the potential to perform at that level has been there all along in that person, and it's existing in a lot of people. But normally it doesn't show, because there's the musician capability in their brain, but there's also an inhibiting factor in their brain that subdues that particular activity, that particular capacity, and keeps it at bay to ensure the overall functionality of the brain, because otherwise that particular function would distort other functions in the brain. But that inhibiting factor can be broken due to injury, and then it doesn't inhibit anymore. And what happens is there's the talent off the leash, and it goes wild, it does amazing things, but it may very well distort other functions in their brain. So that's why normally it is on a leash. And sometimes it goes well, and you leave it off the leash, and that person remains fully functional and can have a good life and still be a genius painter or genius mathematician or genius linguist and whatnot. Autism seems to work similarly. There are some inhibiting functions that do not work the way they normally do, and the result is that the overall functionality of the brain of these people is a little different because the inhibitors are lacking, and but the lack of inhibitors can also sometimes make them perform amazing things like those that we see in the movie Rain Man. That's not only pop culture, that's actually true for a lot of people. Okay, back to innovation. So let's look at, there's innovation. Maybe it's everywhere, at least the potential of it, maybe everywhere in the enterprises, in the companies, the software companies. You may have lots of talented individuals working there who would be able to innovate exceedingly well, but there's also inhibiting factors that prevent them from doing that. They could be in the organization, they could be, like Michael Beckhoff suggested in his excellent comment, lack of infrastructure for and lack of tools and the correct mindset for exchanging knowledge and learning from each other, obstacles that are more and more being removed as the industry learns how to manage knowledge, open source, and so on and so forth. So you've got the genius level employees. You could be a genius level innovating companies. There are the inhibiting factors around, and I think it's the inhibiting factors that scale so very well, because it is so easy to make rules that prevent innovation. It is so easy to create organizations that do not work very well, because there's so many more ways of making a bad organization than there are of making a good organization. And it's so easy to hire another 500, 5,000, 50,000 bureaucrats that have no talent but know how to cover everything in a lot of red tape and keep people from doing actually innovative work. So that seems to scale very well. And if we could remove that, then maybe we'd find out that what lies underneath is an innovative layer that has been there all along. We can leave it off the leash. We have to be careful because it might hurt the overall capacity, the overall functioning of that organization. It's why inhibiting factors are in place. It's one reason why they are in place. It's why they are in place in the brain. It's also why they are in place in enterprises. But, you know, sometimes it can be very well worth it, admitting a little bit of chaos and allowing some deregulation in order to gain that competitive advantage that you can only get from true innovation. My 2 cents. Thanks for listening. Wish you a great day or evening. Bye bye.